Hey, it's Garrett,
It's Andrea.
and welcome to the Daily Devotional.
Yeah. If you know Garrett, then you know there is this one thing about him. Well, I guess like not everybody knows this, but like I think like your family knows this. Probably my family knows this about you. You're kind of like if you celebrate, you tend to like hide away. Not out of like you're embarrassed, but it's like what would you call it?
Like a no hype celebration?
No hype celebration. When you played football for state, everybody was celebrating out on the field. Did you?
No, I went into the locker room.
You went into the
Yeah.
you this was like the first state championship that Harrisonville had
Uh-huh.
in I don't how many years?
And ever. It was the first one for
Ever.
the school ever.
Like you had been
Yeah.
hyped up over the I don't know,
Yeah.
like since you were in high school.
Yeah, but here was the thing, and some people are going to understand this. Like, yes, it was the state championship. Yes, it's great, and we won and all of that. But we won like 35-0. It was one of the easiest games of the entire season that we played. Like it just happened to work that way. Like we hardly like I remember like we hardly broke a sweat. It was like really like it was over. It wasn't like that exciting of a game, and I didn't feel like I had to like work that hard. The person that I had to block and everything, I didn't have to work that hard for it to happen. I mean, it wasn't like there wasn't effort, but it was just a really easy game.
But I feel like it's still worth celebrating. It's still a victory. Like you guys creamed everybody.
Yeah.
Like so it's still like there's pictures of your entire team celebrating, like holding the trophy. Everybody's there and you look for Garrett, he's nowhere. Like you were a big part of this team.
Yeah, but it just that part wasn't important to me. Like
I don't know,
I'm
whatever.
glad we won. I'm glad we
Okay.
won. Like that was all good. But like the whole
apparently.
I legitimately didn't care if I held the trophy.
Hey,
Like
I want you to know something.
all
I
this.
love you, but this will be something I never understand about you.
Really? Yeah. I didn't even realize what I did because like everybody's celebrating. I mean, I was out there. I mean, obviously I didn't like just run off the field after
Right.
it was over. It wasn't
Right.
that dramatic. It was just
Oh no, I don't believe you would have. I believe
No.
you would have walked really softly off the field and just like
no.
kindly
It-
walked back into the
yeah,
locker
it
room.
wasn't like that. Like, I mean, you know what it was too?
Drove the speed limit back home.
Right. Well, part of it is like there were other championship games. And so they had like a PR person come in before and just say, okay, after the games, you have so many minutes to get off the field and blah, blah, blah. So the
Yeah,
next
so
team.
you walked so slow off the
Yeah.
field, it took you that long
No,
to get back to the
no.
locker room.
Like I remember, I'm like a huge rule follower too, and so I thought, oh, we can't just like linger on the field, or our team's going to get in trouble. Like it's just like weird things like that.
That
But
baffles my mind.
Yeah,
Like I
it's-
wouldn't have cared about the rules. Like
Right.
we won.
and I just wasn't thinking that way, and I thought, okay, it's over, it's done, we won, and we go on with life.
Right.
And so I did. I went back and I was the first one back to the locker rooms, and one of the other coaches was one of the first ones back. Like, but this guy was the guy that would just be like, he was our defensive coordinator. He was always hyped, and he was like, Wagner, what's your problem?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Good
We
man.
just won. Like
Yeah.
he's like getting in my face, and I'm like, and it's like, get excited, get on your feet.
Yeah. Good for him.
And-
you never told me this part, and I want to go shake that man's
Yeah,
hand.
and I was like, I'm excited. He's like, I don't see it.
Yeah,
Stand
good,
up, you know.
good.
And I don't know, but it was just, I really didn't understand.
What was that man's name?
I didn't understand the moment.
What was his name?
It was Coach Grantham.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Good job, Coach Grantham. Called it like it was.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
good.
anyway, but yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't. I mean, looking back, I've like, man, I should have like enjoyed it, and I would want my kids to enjoy that moment.
Yeah, you would. If your
'Cause-
kid was acting that way, I promise you, if one of our kids would have done that, I would have been like, why is she sulking? I would go in there and be like, get your booty right back out there. You're going to enjoy this moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't have let our girls do that
No.
for sure. But I didn't see it as sulking then. Like that was the thing. Like I just thought, oh, this is
We're going to have to get off this subject.
Yeah.
Because we're hashing a lot of this, and
Right.
this isn't counseling.
like welcome to our therapy session.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. The opposite of not making a spectacle is what?
Is making a spectacle.
Good job.
Right.
Good job.
So what we're going to talk about is Matthew 23:5.
Yes.
And Jesus is just like going over and over again. Like he's just like talking about ways that the Pharisees made spectacles. And this particular verse, they wore these prayer boxes on them to show how much scripture they knew and all the things that they knew about, so everybody could know.
Right. Well, crazy people.
Yeah, showing themselves to be super holy when in the secret place they're not, and I mean even publicly, like not being so holy. They were doing it for their own self-righteousness, and that's the definition of legalism. Like at its root is a self-reliance or something for a self-gain, to say that that I can figure out this life on myself, and it completely negates Jesus and everything that he was talking about and everything he stood for. And that's what was happening here all the way through Matthew chapter 23. But we wanted to pick on 5 because we thought it was just, there was a funny word for one, and we thought it was just a crazy thing to think about. Like, can you imagine people today walking around with boxes like
They do
that
still.
strapped
Some
on?
of the Jewish people still.
I guess they still do. Yeah, they tie them in things, and it was supposed to be something to say, I've tied this around my heart, or I've put it on my mind. It was supposed to be something for them to remind them of how great God was, but instead they were using it in a public sense to say, this is how great I am. And so these are things that we really do need to check in ourselves, of the things that we're doing for God. Are they really things we're doing for God, or the things to show other people how great of a person that we are, instead of just pointing to him? I think as a whole, the church really needs to hear that message too, because there's a lot of pointing at ourselves, in the church, and that's how we try to get people to come to church or to be a part of things going on. Oh, this is what we're doing, instead of just simply pointing to Jesus.
I think that's good. We're all the body. Let's work together.
It's true.